I'm going to go ahead and get set up. Just getting started here. It has to be shop cleaning day because, like, daggum. But I've also got some work I want to do on my spoon because time is getting nigh on to having that ready, done, and I haven't even fully completed my sample spoon. So I'm trying to get my mic on and all that jazz, and then we're gonna go and get started, because if I don't, I'm gonna wish I had. Is that Frank Green over there? Hey Frank, how we doing, buddy? Was just saying I need to audio better. Hey Rusty, how you doing? It's shop cleaning day. It's probably not going to be what you might call engaging entertainment, but if I don't go live and get it done, it's not going to happen. So here we are. All right. This is the mess. Like it's everywhere. Not sure what happened in the last few days, but we got way off track. So, gonna find a good spot for you to be, and then I'm gonna get cracking because there's a football game on I want to watch, and like if I have this to do, I'm not gonna be watching football because that would drive me up a wall. I've got projects and things that are going to be pressing here in the next couple of weeks, so I've just got to get cracking. Not too warm here in the shop either, Frank, but I'm hoping that the expansion of calories will turn up the temp a little bit. Because I'd hate to start running my heater in November. We had an alarm installed by SimpliSafe, and it comes in a medium-sized box with, I don't know, 3,000 of these little boxes. So go through, pull out any remaining hardware, and then you'll get to see me use that hardware in the next, I don't know, next several videos. That way I don't have to sort it into my hardware cart. You might say I'm a bit of a pack rat because I'm thinking, how can I use these boxes and not have to throw them all away? But that's probably where they're headed. But if I make somebody a Christmas ornament or something, like, it can go to Christmas in this box. I'm not too proud to say that I will recycle everybody's boxes. Might guess that's a habit that drives my wife up the wall. I like the SimpliSafe system. It works great. I just happen to live in a 75-year-old house, and we only have one exterior outlet and it's not located near where I would want the, one moment, got to step away. All right. Had to tell the boss to bring the dog in, or maybe tell my wife that the boss is ready to come in, because we all know that the dog is really the boss. Nice little boxes. You know, when I ship projects out, I usually, regardless of what it is, I'll wrap it in craft paper, and like if it needs some kind of packing, like if it needs bubble wrap or foam or whatever, I'll wrap it, and then I wrap it in craft paper and do like a little bow with, you know, like out of Cecil twine or something, so it looks nice. I'm bad about checking this chat. Fan of lights and the tools sometimes it pop in. Oh, Frank, I'm right there with you. I've got all kinds of things that draw a whole lot of power, and then when I turn the shop back on, or like in our house, the panels only divided into a few circuits, and I'm on the same circuit as the kitchen. So the microwave, the dishwasher, the table saw, or the planer, they don't play well with each other. And if I'm running the laser, this old laptop doesn't have, like, the battery is no good. So it's just whatever. It doesn't store any power. So if the dishwasher comes on, if there's a drop, like when you turn on the table saw or the microwave, something like that, then it always causes the laptop to belch, and then you get that error message if you're trying to do a burn. It's not so bad with the CNC. I think the Arduino has some sort of capacitance in it that it doesn't seem to have that issue. Come here. I'm going to show you on TV. You're going to be on TV. Wait, oops. Come here. Come here. You're going to be on TV. Oh. All right, Kimber, say hello. You are on YouTube. All right, this is Kimber, the pup for whom we got the doghouse. All right, go to mommy. She's good. She's 4 months old, so she's about as wound up as it gets almost all the time. She's either going to be a good watchdog, or one morning she's just going to chew my face off. I'm not quite sure yet. But we always hope. And I know this is probably the most boring video format ever, but if I don't set this up and get this shop clean, then I can't get anything done this week. Was watching Grumpy's Turn this morning, and I bought myself a little mini lathe. mostly to do an unboxing video. I want to learn how to turn, but I don't have any room in here for a lathe, so I bought a little, little mini lathe, something for doing like pins and maybe honey dippers, stuff like that. And if it turns out to be something I really like, then maybe move some stuff around, figure that out. But at the moment, it's an unproblem. I'm just trying to catch up from having been in a hotel for 3 days while I had some contractors in to do a couple things, and the gas had to be off and everything. So it just made more sense for us to do that. I would have been fine gutting it out, but I'm the only guy in the house, and ladies aren't going to do that. All right, no hardware there. It's kind of a weird kind of a box. Don't be me. Throw these little wire ties away. I once had a gallon Ziploc bag full of them. And the absurdity of that just dawned on me one day, and I stopped saving it. But it seemed like a long time ago, I used them for, wrapping up wires and holding things together and all that. I just don't really need to do that anymore. Old-fashioned in the sense I never throw anything away, and I'm sure that's a problem in more ways than one. Kind of hardware, right? I spend all this time going through this stuff, and I'm sure there are better ways ever than using all these little tiny boxes for things, but what can I say? I'm cheap. Anybody else got anything good going on? Hey, Ray. Frank, I started out with the large Bauer 12-inch miter saw that I had bought specifically for a project. And then, of course, when we moved in here, we had been living in apartments for, I don't know, 2.5 years. We sold our place, moved to Wisconsin for my wife's job. And then when COVID was kicking off, they changed the residency requirement, so she didn't have to live up there. So we moved back to Ohio because real estate is a whole lot cheaper. But the market was garbage because of the COVID. So we waited and waited, and then finally we bought this place, and I love the spaces it has. It's got a nice basement. One of my daughters has a bedroom there. They have the garage for my shop. It had a shed, and we built the barn. So it's a decent little place. And then our neighborhood is, I think of as semi-rural because we have, plenty of space between the houses. They're not giant lots. I'm a third of an acre inside the fence, and then I've got about a quarter acre at the back of the property that's up against the railroad tracks. Yard lead for the Indiana and Ohio interchange yard is back behind us about a half a mile to the south. And so it's nice, it's quiet. You see the deer that live along the railroad tracks there. They don't cause us any trouble. We do get a little raccoon and skunk traffic around our chicken coop, but with the dog. And before Kimber, we had hound dogs. Had a beagle and a trained Walker coonhound. And, usually wildlife they would pop by, say hello, and realize that they weren't welcome in our part of the neighborhood and go on. And then my neighbors, of course, have those 3 giant boxers and they say it's black lab and something. I'm not sure what, but it kind of looks like a bear, and wildlife doesn't like it too well either, so we don't get a lot of that kind of stuff. So is it better to be a pack rat or a hoarder? I think pack rats usually get a little bit better PR. All right, so there's that. And here's this. If a person had an interest in being a junk salesman, he could open a branch office in his shop right now. But we're getting there. My wife always says you got to make a mess to clean up a mess. I guess it means I'm halfway. So we get what's a box, what's an insert, what's worth saving, what's not worth saving. Clean the trash out of it now. And then as I go along, I'll decide some of this isn't worth saving. Right now. All right. There we go. Good spot for that. Hitch the pants so we don't have a hardware malfunction right here on national TV. All right, got that now. So the school was getting rid of this cart, and it's pretty heavy duty. They used to keep like lab supplies. These are cardboard. Eventually I might make little wooden trays for it. It was pretty good cardboard, and they kept lab supplies in the cart, but now that that particular teacher doesn't teach science anymore, and they modernize a lot of stuff, this was headed to the dumpster, and I hooked it, and I figured it would be a good place to store smaller scrap wood and things like that, or like if you have a project that's in process and you got all the small pieces cut out for it, but you're not ready to assemble, it's a good place for it to be out of the way. It also might be a place for some of this scrap wood that seems to grow every time I look at it. So anyway, and here's that. I was showing this on the live the other night. Piece of walnut. Lady lives not too far from here. Gets this stuff. Her husband makes some little things, and I mean, you know, like household stuff. And then usually she puts the offcuts on Marketplace. Last couple times, she's just kind of sent me an email and said, hey, before I list this, do you want it? And then I just pay her the shipping. This kind of looks like he went at it with a Dremel. I guess but then it's raised up here, so that might be some kind of a worm. But anyway, it's got a kind of funny texture. Over here it feels like the Dremel, and over here it's like raised up. So anyway, got a little character to it. I can probably sand that off and still you know, do something live edge with it. It's got some saw marks in one spot. Kind of hairy looking, needs a little cleanup, but it's not bad. As far as walnut's concerned, if I bought that at the hardware store, it would have cost me a whole lot more than the shipping. And then here's another little piece. So I'm thinking either we do some kind of a little shelf, or, you know, tons of things you can do with a piece that size. Anyway, that's enough of my resume for now. I'm trying to start getting things in order so I can start making some of these projects that I need to start sending out. It's plywood. Yep. Maybe plywood's good. Right there. So what do you guys do with all your scraps of sandpaper? I wind up getting, you know, I go through things and I need little pieces, and I have a little bit, maybe a 1 pound bag of these little, it's not the greatest sandpaper in the world, but it's good for stuff if you need to just hit it a little bit. And then these old sanding belt, yeah, have a tendency for them to on the old handheld belt sander, something with the tension was wrong. The new one doesn't do it, but the old Black & Decker, as it got older, had a tendency for the belt to break at, like, you know, without much wear on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I would get, you know, that nice heavy duty sandpaper, but I would have to use it by hand. Yeah. All right, so this I think we'll put down here because it's heavy. Oh, is it going to go in? Hey, it went in there. Good. maybe we need a drawer for patterns too. But right now, patterns are going to go right here until I get this cleaned off. I ought to move you over here where the work is so you don't have to look at my back all the time. Trying to find a good spot. Hey, there we go. Pardon me. All right. Getting to the part where I'm going to need to run the vacuum, so I'm going to cut off our live here in a minute. But I just wanted to pop on while I was getting started, because I know that if I don't, then it's probably not going to happen. So here's where we are on our spoon. Happy with the handle. I just need to do a little smoothing here. I'm happy with the handle grip. Then I need to do a little work here to thin this down and kind of give it a little tighter contour. And then need to do the same here on the front because it looks more like a ladle or a scoop than a spoon. And then just push that flat on the belt and have it take these thin edges down a little bit. Hey, Grumpy, caught your live earlier. I know you have a small lathe, but I bought one of those little mini, like just a mini lathe. I think they come with little things for making beads. It'll do a piece that's about 2 inches by about 8 inches. And I plan to do pins and honey dippers and things. I don't really turn. I did one turning project almost 40 years ago. I think was my junior year of high school. Could have been a sophomore year wood shop. We had to do one. Well, I will take all the advice you can give, Grumpy, because I don't really know anything about it other than, like, I can follow the directions and set it up, but I am not sure about any of the rest of it. If you look at Amazon Haul and you want to try and carve, and you want a carving burr, but you want to pay $60 for it, I got this thing for $4.99, and it was supposed to fit my 5/8 arbor. It didn't. It was a metric equivalent, and it had a lot finer threads. And so I was going to return it, and I sent the seller a message. Well, they sent me the adapter and then refunded the purchase price of this, which I felt bad because, like, now that I got the adapter, it works great. But it was like $5 the day I got it. Hang that up. Anything that I'm not sure about, I'm not putting a lot of money into, because, you know, that hence the $30 lathe and the bit that was $4.99 for the carving burr. And, like, I don't mind buying better tools if I know it's something I'm going to use. But to experiment, I'm just not doing it. I think if you want to learn a skill, you should go for it. But I don't have the budget to do a lot of crazy stuff, so I'm not. All right, hardware packets. USB mini. All right, show of hands, who all has a bag of cords? I feel like once you get to a certain age, if your resume or your list of junk doesn't include a list of old cords, you haven't really established yourself yet. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I feel like that should be a statistic. My wife is an accountant, and what she does right now is more like she does accounting for a business unit for a manufacturer, but she came from public accounting, so she has kind of both skill sets. And I feel like your number of random leftover cords ought to be a statistic. But hey, what do I know? All right, so I want that to be scrap wood for now. Put these away. I want to know how I got so much random trash in here. Anyway, seems to be a lot of it. All right, put these. Pardon me, clearing my throat in your ear. I wanted to show you this. I don't know how many of you do this, but it's a little product idea that I put on my Etsy shop and my Go Imagine shop. I sold these at the farmer's market. I had a lady come up to me one day. She bought 2 cans of board conditioner, and she said, "You ought to put together a kit that has some way to apply this stuff and the rag you're supposed to use to buff it out." So I hopped on Amazon and bought a pack of car wax applicator sponges. These are kind of microfiber, and then a bulk pack of these microfiber towels, which they're not really a towel. It's what I think of as the size of a washcloth. And so I packaged the 4-ounce tin board conditioner and the microfiber cloth and the applicator. And these are in Ziploc bags. I did buy some Mylar bags, but they turned out not to be quite big enough, and it was hard to put the towel in there neatly. Yeah, I say as this one looks like it got sat on, but anyway, it's just another thing to go in the bin next to the cutting boards. Hey, Frank, have a good one. Have an awesome day. Ava Crew. Hey, Ava Crew, how are you? Wes. Ray. Man, all the people I like to watch are in my chat. Wes, those knives you're doing, that's awesome. I have a couple of blanks I need to do something with that were in my dad's stuff. He worked in a machine shop, and these blades are made of some kind of high carbon. I don't know what it is, but to me it looks like it's like a stamped, what had been a piece of stamped material, and then he took and roughed it out with a bandsaw. So it needs ground, and I need to put scales on it. But I have no idea when I'm ever going to get to doing that. All right, so one I'm working on here. Put these back. layout. They all need trimmed. So I don't think my blanks came out too bad. A lot of that stuff was just odds and ends out of the scrap box, if you remember. Maple and cherry, little walnut and cherry to do utensils with. And then I've got these like with this little funky knot here. And I'm going to put the spatula blade on one side and I'm just going to cut around the knot and make the handle. And probably with this piece of, now this smells like oak to me, but it's like a 4/4. I could probably do a spoon with that, but the grain is a little loose. It'd probably do better as a spatula. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll come apart when I start cutting it out. Never know. Stay tuned to find out. I started lining up things like these project boxes. So like things I need to do, like my shop to-do list comes to one of these baskets and it gets on my in-feed table for my miter station. And then I just kind of work down my list. I've got all my shop table signs for the farm market and like all my old sample signs. Now that a little better with the CNC and have figured out the very basics of my laser, then I can go back and redo those, make them a little nicer. And then, what is this? Oh, extra phone charger. There we go. That way your battery doesn't run down. So, not bad. No old house letters, things I need to do. You know, because we all have a to-do list. And the longer you ignore it, the longer it gets. Do I have a good spot for this right now? Yeah. But I'm going to be over here. So anyway, I think I'm going to cut off this live here in a minute and start vacuuming and just go to town, get this done, because I want to finish that sample spoon and I want to get on to, making the ones for my order. Not that you should ever rush that, but that just seems like life. So you all have a good day and thank you for joining me. In the new video, if you're a subscriber, I posted the link to the one that's going to drop tomorrow morning for public if you want to take a look. If you're not subscribed, please do me that favor because I'm trying to grow my channel. I have more likes than I have people in the chat, so that's a great thing. Thank you all. Have a good day.